Hey everyone, just waiting for some more people to jump in. Hey, what's happening, guys? No, thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see, I decided to start a little bit later in the thank you. And yo, what's going on, Logan? I decided to start a little later on Fridays just to see, because probably, give people more time to get home and stuff, right? What's going on, Lolo? If you guys, by the way, if anyone has any, oh, Joseph, nice to see you too. If anyone has any questions or anything, we can start now if you guys like with the questions or even just a conversation. But hey, how's it going? To all three of you that just joined. What's happening, guys? So let's see here. Where do I source my topics from? I can't say it on here. I'm good, Lolo. How about yourself? Logan, I can't say it on here, but it's the gray area of the internet that's or the interwebs as they call it. That's one wrong click, and if you don't know what you're doing, I don't say that to tell you not to, but I advise against it, because if you don't know what you're doing, it's not good. Can you talk about the Biden administration's meeting in Alaska this week? Yeah, of course I can. If you want to be a little more specific, I read briefly about it. I didn't really study up on it to get an idea of what happened. I just know there was oh, Logan, okay, yeah, so you get it. I just know that with the thing in Alaska, there was a lot of allegedly like political name calling, basically the fancy version of, just people yelling at each other. Any headway on the story of Adam and Eve? A little bit. It's taken me some time, but I'm getting there, Christopher. Don't worry. I'm working on it. What's going on, Jenny? Alex, Mr. Truth, how are you? Royston, sorry. What's happening? Oh, North Carolina, nice. I have a couple friends there. Let's just see. By the way, guys, if anyone wants to start with, I know you've already asked me a few things, but I'd be more than happy to. If not, then we'll just wait a little bit longer. It's up to you guys. Let's see. What state am I from? Toronto, Canada. I'm not from the U.S. Even though I've been in the U.S., I've been to the U.S. many times, and I've stayed there for decent periods of time. What is up with all the? Hey, Valkyrie, how are you? What is up with all the hidden drones that hide behind the clouds and make faces, letters, and numbers in clouds? I'm not sure, Joan, if they're drones per se. I would dare to say that some of them are shape-shifting craft, believe it or not, but I'm not saying that's all of them. So hopefully that answers your question. But in general, the reason why they're shape-shifting, for a handful of reasons, for energy purposes, for many different things. There's also a lot of alleged extraterrestrial drones that have been seen lately around as well, too. Oh man, Dojo, I feel bad. Oh, Logan, move to the south. I'd love to get a place there. I'd love to get a place for sure. Let's see here. But yeah, with those drones in the clouds, I mean, some of it could obviously be military. I would dare to say a good chunk of it is, don't get me wrong. But if you're talking about when you look really high up in the sky, you get a telescope or some binoculars and you see something shape-shifting and it looks a little small, I would dare to say it's pretty damn big, and it's definitely not a drone. From Cali. Oh, no problem. Atlanta, Oklahoma. Oh, nice. OBDM Piss Army. Welcome, man. Welcome. Manimal? No, nice. I like the username. From the OBD. Why did Trump not expose the current pedos? Andre asks. There's a few different reasons. I got to be careful with my words here, but why didn't he? Um, you mean when he was in office? It could be debated that to some extent he did. It could also be debated that there was a lot like here's the thing, it's so dark and ruthless when you get in there. It's not even funny. Like and I'm not just saying the presidency, I'm just saying the way the government operates as a whole, even down to the very bottom level, to be honest. Oh, hey, blank space, how's it going? But yeah, no, once it gets to that point, it gets just so ruthless. It's not even funny. Like I know I keep sounding like a broken record, but we need special binoculars that can show all this stuff in the sky uncloaked. Yeah, well, that would definitely make a lot of, I would say, the military nervous more than the aliens, to tell you the truth. Um, I see cubes in the clouds like mine. Yeah, I've seen those too, by the way, to be honest. AI alien architects that attach to buildings and replicate them. That I haven't, but I've seen cubes in the clouds. Um, did you see the video of Biden with the microphone that looks like it's deep faked? Yeah, I did actually. And I'm not going to lie, that looked pretty damn much like a deep fake. Um, do you have any evidence that supports the hollow earth theory? Aside from, there's a few documents, there's some old World War II stuff from Hitler and the Nazis. There's also the best piece of evidence without actually going there yourself is probably Admiral Byrd's journal, which you have to get the non-English version if you want to read the full version. There's a lot of stuff they've taken out in the English version, which they do all the time, by the way. It's the CIA's way of pulling the strings, kind of, so to speak. Oh, thank you, Camden. I appreciate that. Oh, thanks, Joseph. Yeah, no, it's a touchy subject, that's for sure. Joel, what's going on? I think it was a deep wind. What's happening? Yeah, Logan. I think the Biden thing. Honestly, it was. I think it was a deep fake. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, blank space. Thank you. Because I mean, the original footage came out with his hand like in the micro. You know what I mean? It was weird. Um, did he fall down? Did Biden fall down the stairs today? Holy crap! I didn't even know that. Let's see here. Have you heard of voice to skull technology? And if so, what do you think about it? Oh, I think it's absolutely real, and I think it's way more advanced than we would ever begin to imagine, to be honest with you. And I think that Neuralink is just a form of drop feeding. I'm not saying that what they're doing at Neuralink is not evolution or innovative. I'm sure that it's very innovative. But when I look at that, I can't help but think, again, it's a form of drop feeding at some point, right? You feed certain technology to certain people within industry that know who to give it to. In this case, Elon Musk, and then they slowly give it out like that. But what extent do I think voice to skull technology goes to the point where it's, I would dare to say, nano, I use the word nanographic. That's kind of my new word, nanotechnology and holograms, but not holograms in the way that we think about it. If you probably, for those watching here, I won't be able to, you wouldn't be able to watch my episode while watching me live, but basically I talk about how the CIA declassified documents, the gateway process ones that have been around for some time now, talk about how our consciousness is a form of energy that is projecting onto itself. And I bring this up because of the voice to skull technology, because if you can integrate at the isotopic level, or even, I would dare to argue, even smaller than that, but I'm not a physicist. If you can isolate and create some type of nanotechnology that literally ingrains itself into the fabric of what is made up of this universe, literally, you can actually, it's a real life hologram, which is arguably what some of these alien craft are made out of, which is why some of them can go interdimensionally, because they can transcend that, or descend if they like, but the material allows them to stay around their craft while going to and from dimensions. Let's see here. How many COVID strains do you think there are? Oof, the weird gamer, sorry, my friend, I gotta be careful with that stuff on here. Also, he did fall down the stairs, did he? Oh yeah, Air Force One. Oh yeah, he did. Let's see here. V2K, otherwise known as synthetic telepathy. Yeah. What do you think about the new South Park episode? Chronic, if you could get a little more specific, if that's cool, just because I've been editing and producing for the show all day, so I haven't seen the episode. Did you hear about the CDC giving warnings about a possible zombie apocalypse? Yeah, I did. They updated that. They had a file already on the zombie apocalypse, like I think it's been around for a while now, since I think 2011, if I'm not mistaken. One of them, there were two. One of them was a Pentagon report that some soldiers had to write up, and then everyone made a fuss out of it. And then the second one was legit from the CDC, and then they recently just what's it called? They recently just updated it too. So, like I said, like I always say, if there's gonna be zombies, I want the ones from The Walking Dead, not the ones that are in World War Z or I Am Legend. Um, I keep hearing white hats are in control, whatever that means. That means a few different things. Let me see here. Oh, blank space. Thank you. Oh, Joanne, thank you. Generally speaking, it means the overall. And guys, tell me if I'm wrong. From my recollection, it means the elites and all that. And if I'm totally wrong, please tell me. Let's see. It more like the military-industrial complex and those guys. Have you been experiencing any ascension symptoms? Oh, sorry. Hold on. I gotta go back. 1 second. The fall may have been a viral moment distraction for his horrible trade talks he had. Oh, that's not a bad. Yeah, that's pretty good. That wouldn't surprise me actually. Those stupid things tend to get more traction than negative coverage of something. Let me see. You should check out the work of Pierre Sabak and his book Holographic Culture. Oh, thank you. I definitely will. I'll write that down. So let me see, Joseph. Have you been experiencing any ascension symptoms? Let's see here. Oh, the 6th. Thank you. I wouldn't. You'd have to define that. You'd have to define that a little more for me if possible. Rangers, what's going on? Oh, he fell up the stairs 3 times in like 6 seconds. Ascension symptoms, like, what do you mean, Joseph? Like, you feel like when you go to sleep, you're lifting up and then you drop back down again, or you mean like throughout the day kind of thing? Check out Admiral Richard Byrd's audio diary. Mr. Truth says, yeah, I have, absolutely. Chronic says they talk about adrenochrome and show what happens. I'm not sorry, Chronic. I'm not sure what you're referring to unless you were talking to somebody else. Have you ever heard about the woman that has been found to be cut in half? The lower part was nowhere to be found. The upper body was completely empty of blood. She was completely dry. Yes. Yeah, I have. Let me see. Have you seen the Great Awakening map going around and how everything is interconnected? Lolo, yeah. Well, I'll answer both of those. So basically, I think let's talk about when you asked the question about the body being cut off and completely drained of blood. That's usually the symptom of a perfect mutilation by an extraterrestrial. Generally, if they're not going for cattle heads, which is interesting. I still haven't precisely figured out why they like cattle heads or why they feel that it's necessary to be experimented on. But let me see here. The upper body. Yeah, they'll never find that other half of her body. There's no way. I would dare to argue it got taken for experimentation or something. It's to the point where I would say 80% or more of the craft that are seen are military, and there's some type of partnership. And if you see right after this live stream on Patreon, I'm going to be putting out some very rare images and footage of the secret space program ships and craft that do not come to any planet's orbit. They stay outside, and they then deploy the smaller disc-shaped craft or what have you that we now see much more closer. Have you seen the Great Awakening map going around and how everything's interconnected? I have. The thing about the Great Awakening map is interesting because it's sort of interconnecting a lot of things that Nikola Tesla referenced. It's connecting a lot of things that were honestly at some point in time mentioned before. The only difference is now, again, that Great Awakening map does a great job of putting together everything that people have kind of scattered all over the place over the many years. And so it's kind of like when you see the ley lines or the Lee lines, whatever it's called, and or the Nazca lines or what have you, as well as the alleged deep underground military base map, and then the multiple energy grids around Earth and all that, the different fields of unexplained energy patches of land, they all seem to line up. And if we want to go by the statement of no such thing as conspiracies, but no such thing as coincidences either, then you tell me, right? Let me see here. Chronic, only for a brief moment. Sorry, Chronic, not sure what you're referring to. Blank space. It's a new update that pertains to the vaccine. Oh, okay. Genius. White hats, good guys. Black hats, bad. Oh, thank you, Genius, for correcting me on that. Gotcha. I'm thinking of black hats, like the deep state, the elites, and all that. If someone offered you DMT, would you take it? In the right setting, in the right mood, in the right environment, if I had like nothing else to do that day, I would. Let me see here. Oh, let me go back up. Hold on a second. All right, let's see. You should also check out the book Darkness Over Tibet by Theodore Ilion. It's about an Agarthan fallen angel that runs a mystery school in the desert of Tibet, claims it's a true story from 1935. Interesting. Now, see, again, I always say my personal theory, and I could be wrong. An Agarthan is interesting because an Agarthan fallen angel, are they one and the same, or are they Nordics? Are they a little bit different? Or have they, are they familiar with each other's existences? I'm sure they are. Very interesting. I'm definitely going to look into that as well. Thank you. Would you consider forming a clubhouse group, or is it not very trustworthy? I'm working on that actually, Eric, believe it or not. Ascension symptoms I've been experiencing are an increase in lucidity while I'm dreaming for like the past week, and pressure in the ears, feeling like the brain is expanding and contracting. I've had the increase in lucidity, absolutely. Like the dreaming, I've had that quite often. The let me see, the pressure in the ears I've had, but the feeling like your brain is expanding and contracting, no. I would dare to say, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not an expert on that, I would dare to say that's a good sign though, because it means that, your soul, the energy that encapsulates, that is confined within, our physical body, is trying to leave the body. But again, there are far more people that know much better and more than I do. I will say that I've smelled liquefied cow brains and it is indescribable. That may be why UFO like cow head. Well, I'm not sure. I don't think they're eating the cow heads. I think it's more of experimentation, to tell you the truth. Let me see here. Thomas says the Admiral Byrd's journal thing is a psyop fake. I couldn't agree. The English version, I agree with you 100%, Thomas. As to whether or not the other versions in different languages from around the world have been altered, it's possible. Look, I can't say I know for sure. I wasn't there, right? But I would say they took a lot out of his journal that he had in there. That's for sure. That book didn't get published without going through heavy revision initially. Let me see here. Will you explain the difference in the levels of your Patreon and why? You have great content. Thank you, Rolls Royce. So, I'm not going to stick to this for too long because I'm not trying to be a salesman. I'm trying to answer your guys' questions, but I appreciate the question. So, $4 a month, you get early release episodes every 1 to 2 weeks before everybody else does, and then you also get access to our Discord and Telegram. And then $8 a month, you get members only episodes and all the previous perks as well, and I think a couple other things. And then $12 a month, every Sunday we do Zoom calls, and then you can also contact me one-on-one. We can chat, and you also get behind the scenes videos, which I'm also working on too, kind of like how I assemble my research, day in the life kind of stuff. I'm working on putting together like a full-on video just for those for you guys, and that's basically the difference. And if you get the highest package, you get all the perks of the previous ones and all that too. It's mainly the members only episodes that are really good. I mean, I'm not trying to brag, but we analyze footage, videos. We show a lot of pictures and things that YouTube won't let me put out publicly, which is cool. Let's see here. What's your opinion about the sanitary passport for COVID travelers? Something related to new global order and alien plans for our planet for the future. Here's the thing about that. I don't know if that factors in. Here's what I would say though. In terms of our alien races trying to take over humans, no. And I would say because if they were ruthless, they would have done it by now. However, I do want to say as well too, though, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be Project Bluebeam or anything like this. There already could have been an infiltration. There's evidence to suggest that I'm working on researching right now. There are anywhere from 1 to 2 shapeshifters on the Secret Service detail without the president himself or herself even knowing. Now, what's interesting about that too is I don't know what species these shapeshifters derive from. If they're, the result of hybrids, if they're the result of actual, extraterrestrials from another planet, or if they're also shapeshifters from below Earth. And I know this might sound a bit ridiculous, but there's some evidence I'm working on to suggest that the reptilians from underground that are, we'll say just reptilians for the sake of it, or the draconians or what have you, that are working with humans in the dumb bases, in the underground military bases, have made an agreement because some of these reptilians have been stranded on Earth and are not allowed to leave the planet for many years. So if they, act as a security guard because of their superior strength and knowledge and all that for, a human leader, specifically in this case, the world superpower, the US, Russia probably has it too, China as well. I wouldn't rule it out. They get a bit of a lesser sentence, so to speak, on their time on Earth because the other races through humans have made this arrangement. So I'm not fully there yet, which is why I haven't done a video on it yet, but I'm working on it. Let me see here. Bird's journal diary has never been declassified. Not all of it, no. Certain pages you can find, but let's see here. Hey Dave, what's your opinion about this? Oh, sorry, I just read that. So in terms of the sanitary passports for COVID, I know I went a bit off track there, but I look, here's the thing. If they're going to people, the one side of the argument is, well, if why would they need to track us? They could already track us, with our phones and stuff. Well, the other side of that argument is, well, they will never stop looking for ways to find and track you more accurately. Not just track you, but I mean, this might sound a bit out there and far-fetched, but we have to consider it based, because of all we know now. If there's something in that vaccine that can make you, just drop in a second, and I'm not trying to instill fear, I'm just saying we got to look at all the possibilities. Best case is that it works, assuming COVID's legit, right? Worst case is it can activate something. We now know for a fact that the CIA has public investments. And when the CIA has public investments in something, that's scary, because what does that mean at the classified level? Or multiple classified levels? But the CIA publicly has investments in companies that can transfer information through blood and through human DNA. So to say that you cannot put something inside of a vaccine that even the manufacturers themselves don't know about, I think is a little bit, it isn't far-fetched. Hopefully that answers your question. My opinion, look, I'm going to be straight with you guys. I'm not getting it. If I got to get on a plane and, they put the passport or the vaccine thing, I'll take a test to get on a plane. I won't take a vaccine to get on a plane. If not, then I guess I'm driving or I'm going by boat. I don't know. It's too, yeah, no, not for me personally. Let's see here. But if anyone does, look, I respect and I understand that perspective. Let's see here. Walter White, you're a dumbass. Thank you. Let's see here. Good commenter. What do you know about planet Serpo? Quite a bit. I mean, it depends on the you referring to the exchange program. Allegedly, the Ebens live on planet Serpo. They had gone through a very strenuous battle at some point with another race or another faction of their own, and it caused a lot of damage, which is why they're and a lot of slaughtering of their own race, which is why they're against weaponry and things like this. Apparently, they don't perceive time the way we do, although on a day-to-day basis on Serpo, they have a very strict regime in terms of their routine and what they do and things like this. They find eating meat allegedly very weird. They also find that murdering or killing animals for food is only done when absolutely necessary, which is interesting because, that's what a lot of ancient human cultures, some of them, not all, believed in. Let's see here. Apparently, the humans that went to planet Serpo died because of something. I don't want to use the word radiation, but I have no other word to explain. Some type of energy that really, really did a number on them over time, which seems to be similar energy, not the same, but similar energy used on their craft. But it's different types of energy based on which propulsion system they're using. I guess we could use that term propulsion system. And depending which planet they're going to, if they're in orbit in a certain planet, if they're not, and what have you. Let's see here. Talk about Medine, China 2025 and one world religion, Luciferianism. Mr. Truth, unfortunately, I don't know enough about that to comment. I don't want to start just, rambling about Luciferianism. I think there's a few of you in this chat, or I know for a fact there's a few that watch the show that know way more than I do. Oh, thank you, Casey. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Have you watched Hellier or read any of Alan Greenfield's work, like The Secret Cipher of the Euphonauts? Seraphim Ascending asks. I'm kind of in the middle of reading it right now, which is why if you have a question on it, I don't want to answer until I finish until I feel like I finished my research. So I apologize, but yes, I've definitely read Alan Greenfield. Still reading Alan Greenfield's work. Let me see. Jay says, could you say more about the Russellian psychics, or no, Russellian physics? Like, are there examples of its application that aren't black ops? Not, Jay, not exactly. It's usually black ops, dark ops. It's usually things like that. It's nothing really. See, the thing about all of that is it'll be disclosed slowly. It has been in terms of the patents, but nothing specific enough to give anyone any kind of idea as to how they could make it or manufacture it. And even then, the patents are very, very hard to find as well. Do I ever think it'll go public? in the most minimal way in a long time. Or if, look, guys, I'll tell you right now, I'll very happily admit I'm wrong if there's some type of massive disclosure in the next, 1 to 10, 20 years or whatever. I'd be more than happy. Because here's the thing, I think you guys feel the same too. Something is coming in terms of a revelation. I'm just not sure exactly what it is, right? Let me see here. I wish I could share my dumb map I've been working on for the last year in the chat. Indigo, if you send me an email at genzpodcast@gmail.com, I'll put it up on my Instagram if you like, for you. I'd be interested to see. Are the Nordics from Orion, or it's the Anunnaki? The Anunnaki seem more ancient than the Nordics. Anunnakis are more spiritually oriented. Nordics are more technologically oriented. Well, the thing about the Anunnakis, sorry, let me see. Before I get into that, let me just answer this one. What's the percentage that aliens are real in your opinion? Honestly, and this is me being biased, I mean, 98%. I'd give it 100%. But I'll fully admit to you guys, it is because I do want to believe it. In terms of, like, if we just look at the geographical space out there of how much there is, but on top of that, even the evidence too of all the the footage, the pictures, you can only claim it's a deep fake so much until you go back, and if you analyze metadata frame by frame, you can only debunk so much until it's unexplainable. Now, just because it's unexplainable doesn't mean it's alien, but I mean, we're getting to that point. That's what it's really looking like. Especially if you watch the show, you see the connections, right? Let me see here. Let's see. Okay, so the Nordics and the Anunnaki. So allegedly the Anunnakis, there's a lot of disinformation around them. And the reason for that is because they enslaved humanity for gold, allegedly. That's the story. I don't know how legitimate that story is. They enslaved humanity for gold. Why gold? I'm not sure. Could it have something to do with piezoelectricity in terms of being able to activate certain elements within other dimensions that were needed? It's possible. I'm not sure. The Nordics tend to get confused with the Venusians, the Pleiadians, and what have you. It's hard to say which faction is which in terms of their interests and all that. The Pleiadians allegedly are extremely spiritual, very peaceful. The Nordics as well too. Some have their own agendas and what have you. The Venusians, allegedly, they mind their own business, but they do not interfere, but they get involved with humans when need be. In terms of comparing the Anunnaki to the Nordics, I don't know. It's too far back. It's way too far back, in my opinion, to take a step back and say, okay, how much of that is accurate or not? There's not enough documentation on it. Now, if we could get inside the Vatican's archives, I would dare to say there's a lot there that may not be accurate, but maybe generally like a lot closer than what we know publicly, right? Thank you so much. Let's see. I never knew there were so many dead aliens, amazingly abundant. Yeah, there's a lot. Let me see. Dojo, thank you. Why do some whistleblowers say we're not better off knowing the real truth about aliens? Because, dude, it's not as it's not as like cool, quote unquote, as it might sound. Once you know about it, it's not even the fact that you have to keep it secret or what have you. It's you have to deal with a lot of different things in terms of what you know, who you tell. Just again, the whole thing of knowledge being power, it's a cheesy line, but it's true. There's many different angles and factions at play here as to why, when you know these types of things, sometimes it's better off if you don't. I have evidence to suggest there are multiple politicians such as Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, the ones, not so much the label of their position, but because of how long they've been there, the ones that really make those deep connections that are not officially on paper. I have some evidence to suggest they actually turned down wanting to know about extraterrestrials because it was too much of a headache for them. And they're getting up there in age, and they just don't want to know about it, because once you know about it, then you have to make sure you don't tell anyone about it. It becomes leak prone, right? And then it becomes, what extent do you know about it? And then when you look at a lot of other people that have reverse engineered the craft, like I say before, they have no problem talking about the craft itself, but they have a big issue talking about the weapon side of it. Again, it could be many things: the fear of death, the fear of, you don't want your family to be in trouble because of what you know, even if you don't tell them, stuff like that. It's hard to explain, Oli. It's hard to explain verbally, but when you're in a room of people and there's that ominous feeling, believe me, it's not fun. Even if you have alien existence confirmed, your mind then jumps to, okay, now what? Now I got to keep it quiet. Now I got to lie. Now I might even get killed. that kind of stuff. Depends who you are, how high up, right? Again, in the shadow government, with those words that I use, there are no rules, right? It's whatever that government binds itself to and feels appropriate when it comes time to take someone out or whatever. It's sad to say, but let me see. Let me see here. Look up Secret Service guy with fake hand. Well, right, that too. Do you know the game series Destiny? I bet out there it's kind of like that in the game right now. Yeah, I do know about Destiny. Absolutely. And I actually kind of agree. Did you happen to catch Chris Knowles on Higher Side chats? And if so, thoughts? Oh, thank you, Ritz. I appreciate that. I didn't. I honestly didn't. And the reason is because I would love to. It's just I only get like maybe half an hour a day before I go to sleep to watch some YouTube and stuff. And then the rest of my day is literally this. Even though you guys don't always see my face between the editing and all the stuff, right? The Area 51 crash was, oops, I got to jump back. My bad. Let's see here. Oh, Mr. Truth, expand on Vril Society. Oh, I'll do that. No problem. Hold on. Let's see here. The Area 51 crash was in Corona County. Oh, cool. Okay. But there's been a bunch, actually. There's been even some leaked footage, too, of some of the stuff going on there. Interesting research point. Read the last chapter of a book called The Edge of the World by Michael Pye. The last chapter is aptly and interestingly called The Plague Laws. Very interesting. Thank you, Thomas. Let me see here. Someone at the pharma company would certainly know, though. That's the thing. If you're going back to what I was saying about slipping stuff into the vaccine, it gets iffy there. But there's arguments to be made on both sides with regards to covering things up. Yeah. I think poison shot is just a DNA scramble to stop the awakening. Fair, very fair. Oh, you real, thank you. Thomas says Serpo equals psyop. Yeah, look, Thomas, there's a lot of things that could be psyops. Absolutely. Joel says, I'm of the belief that the black-eyed kids and often the adults that accompany them and watch from across the street are what most would call the dark elves. Well, again, yeah, there's many different names. The question then becomes, Joel, how can we, like, what purpose are they serving, right? Is this part of a gang stalking apparatus? Not just the CIA, but even above that, there's so many operations. It's hard to say which are partnered with extraterrestrials, which are, so on and so forth. With the technology that the government has in secret, can you imagine what's in the vaccine? Oh, okay, fair. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Rahu Williams, I posted this question. Okay, are all the projects that you talk about going to be used for one event or events? Well, remember, Rahu, the goal of what we do on the show is to put the pieces together. But are the projects are all of them going to be used? Some will be merged into different ones. If they're going to come out and say, yeah, we had this project named that and this project named that, it's never going to happen. Never going to, in terms of that. But some of the things that they do individually then get implemented into things that they do on a much bigger scale later. Some things they kind of put on the shelf and they pick up many years later, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be extraterrestrial stuff, just like anything else. It's the same type of mindset, right? Kind of like when you put a toy away or something or a book away on the shelf and then you pick it up and say, this book could be used for this down the road, right? It's that kind of idea. AOK Enduro update on CERN. I got a lot of updates on CERN. Depends specifically what you want to know. Hey, what's going on, Lane? Let's see. Have you ever come across the Krill, the omnipotent one? I've read about it, but I don't know specifics. David Kozier says, oh, hey, how's it going? He goes, my first time in the chat. Can you discuss a little about any preparations you may be taking, such as financially, spiritually, or educating yourself for possible worst case scenarios? David, I have to say the best thing to probably prepare ourselves, everybody here, is the knowledge of it